We're very. You can tell we're serious. This is our serious pose here, because we're talking about something kind of serious.
This is an expose.
Expose. Well, it's like the whole thing is like we've seen with the transition of time marching on, and then COVID has exacerbated it. The closing of clubs and the transition of these things into things that they were not anymore. Music venues, and now they're turning into hotels, boutique eateries, just things that might be the opposite of what the fabric of that neighborhood has been, and maybe what made that neighborhood what it is.
Yes.
It's tricky because I do believe in capitalism and progress marching forward. And I guess some ideas of gentrification and whatnot, and like it's good for the neighborhoods. There's certain things that we lose though, it seems.
Yes, absolutely.
And the Exit In was the one that just came up in Nashville. And like you've lived in Nashville.
Yep.
I've lived in Nashville. I played the Exit In, I can't tell you how many times. But then actual real successful musicians have played the Exit In a lot more too.
From like the Allman Brothers to Etta James to Sting to
Etta James. I always think about Etta James from the 20s.
Right.
But it's not. I was like, there's that voice. It's like, oh, Etta James, the great Etta James, and Robert Johnson had a duo together.
The Chili Peppers have played there.
The Chili Peppers have played there?
When they were red hot. Yes.
Oh my God, that's funny.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's amazing. No, but it's
people.
So Chris Cobb is the owner of that, and so the building has gone up for sale, and he put in an offer to buy it at asking price, and it was declined. And it was gone with, I think, what was the number?
AJ Capital.
AJ Capital, yeah. I couldn't remember that because it's just such a generic business. There's so the owners of the property decided to go with them instead at a less price, we think, a lower price. They're the same, but which is a little bit weird. And they did that because they're kind of doing one of these little middle fingers to the owner because he doesn't like the owner who's been renting Exit In from this owner, because they are part of a collective trying to keep Nashville, and keep the neighborhood that a little bit of the spice of what it is. And we're all for like cleaning up the neighborhood and everything, but it wasn't ever dirty.
Right.
That's one of the coolest little. It's just one block.
Yeah, and it's sort of like the Rock Haven, the Rock Block, right there for.
I literally lived like a block away from it too. Like I lived right behind the Lowe's Hotel in that 6-story apartment building, and so like right behind me was the Exit In. I would go there if I wasn't playing there pretty regularly, and it was a pretty amazing place. Like it felt cool. Like an attainable place for a young and upcoming band to play too, which is not all the places in Nashville, and there's less and less of them now. And so Chris, as he's been working with his community, I'm sure he's a bit of a rebel rouser there, and that's okay.
Probably.
Trying to save it so it doesn't go away.
Yes.
And there's who works with this AJ group too.
I do believe it is Peyton Manning's brother.
That's pretty impressive. Lineage of lore. It's like our royalty of America is Peyton the Mannings. But no, so it's a pretty powerful group. They're wanting to come in. They're going to demolish it, obviously. Yeah. And they're going to put a hotel there, a really nice hotel. I'm sure it'd be amazing, and probably tall and pretty.
Tall and amazing.
I mean, it'd be really pretty. There's some great hotels that popped up in Nashville. Like I think there's one. Like where Kenny Rogers Roasters used to be, which God, I love that restaurant. That was before Boston Market was a thing. All you Boston Market lovers, like, oh, I like Boston Market chicken. Kenny Rogers had the idea first.
It's true.
In my opinion, he did. I don't care if Boston Market came out first. Kenny Rogers is the king. And those biscuits, the corn muffin, oh my God, that stuff he had. If you've been to Kenny Rogers Roasters, just give me a hey, whatever that noises people make.
Yes, I'm learning new things every day. I didn't know about your love for Kenny Rogers.
So good. I used to go there by myself.
His cuisine.
It's just how I walked out from my dorm and then from my apartment or whatever. It was so fun.
Baxter, you want to go out with us? No, I can't. I'm going to Kenny Rogers Roasters by myself.
And then going to like Chili's was like fine dining. I get like that Philly cheesesteak and the Miller Lite, the tall boy, like with my fake ID.
We still frequent the Chili's together.
We do. We might go there later. You never know.
It's true.
It's Taekwondo time, it always is for the Jonathan and Baxter crew. We do this pretty much every night because we're losers. And we don't have anything that keeps us from, our wives don't really want us home.
No.
But anyway, back to this. So it's a tricky situation. It kind of rings that bell of what happened in New York when I was there as well at CBGB's. And so CBGB's is still considered the most iconic punk rock and roll club in the history of clubs, I would say. And it was down there in the Bowery in New York City, sort of a seedy area. There's a methadone clinic right next to it. That's part of the charm, I think. No, it was like that stuff's all sort of changed and transitioned. There's like high-end condos, but so it got bought out by NYU, as NYU is the behemoth that it is, and it buys everything, and they closed it down. They put a NYU dorm above it, above the punk club where, you know, Sid Vicious and Television and Blondie and everybody did all sorts of drugs and sexual things we don't even want to talk about. I've been in that green room. It's disgusting. I got to play CBGBs many times, but they put that in there, got rid of the methadone clinic, and then became a John Varvatos clothing store that would sell CBGB sweaters for $200.
Totally makes sense.
Everything about that is upsetting to me.
Yeah. A little bit of a disconnect there.
I mean, New York is a place of change and transition
Sure.
always. It's a weird respect I have for it. They don't preserve history a lot. They wrecked Edgar Allan Poe's house to put an NYU dorm there. I'm like, okay, it's just Edgar Allan Poe, whatever. I mean, I understand it was a small little brownstone. They needed it, and they were building a massive behemoth, and they'd gotten everything else. But still, it's just that's New York City. It's the place that dreams are made of. Skyscrapers, whatever the words of that songs are, I don't know. So CBGB's is really not a thing anymore. It kind of is, but it's more of a thing in spirit.
Yeah, I would say so.
The location was so important to that.
Right.
The Bowery of New York City, and it's gentrified, and it's become, you know, there's high-end condos there, an NYU dorm, muffins, like nice coffee shops everywhere, which is fine, but it was nice having that. Like it had CBGBs there for years, even when all this nice stuff was happening. That was nice to see, like sort of the rock and the punks and the tattoos, and I got to play there for some of the last shows they had, and it was amazing with the surviving members of the Ramones.
That is cool. Yeah.
It was cool, and that place, it was not nice. It was a dump.
Right.
Everything, it was like a big railroad, skinny. The stage is way at the end, and then you walk in. You're like walking 100 or so feet to even get close to the stage, and it's just a crappy dark bar. The green room's disgusting. The bathrooms are even worse. It's like, imagine the worst bathroom ever, then make it worse. It's that, but that's what CBGB's was. Exit In is not that.
No, but you know, and a lot of these places are that. But it's sad to me that these places with all this history, have this lineage of music. You know, people who have played there. It's cool to stand on stages like that, where you're like, oh, that's
this
the
hero
point
you
of mine.
made.
Yeah.
Yes, because those once you take that stage away, and you can't. It's gone.
It's gone.
So I remember touring up in Canada once, and I was playing this like crappy place in London, Canada. I think it was London, Ontario, but I loved the town. Beautiful people there. I'm talking about the girls. Sorry, Canada's just filled with them. So you're a blessed land, Canada. It's a blessed place. My wife is
Canada known for that? I don't know.
I think in my opinion, is when my wife first met
Heard
me.
it here.
No, my wife, she would see, like, I had a Facebook account. Like, I only had, like, girls on it. She's like, why are all these girls Canadian? Because I only accepted the Canadian girls I met on tour as my Facebook friends. And we were dating for, like, a year before
there you go.
I accepted her as a Facebook friend. And then I had to accept everybody. It was a problem. But, yeah, I love you, Canada. Oh, Canada. That's what the song's about. Oh, Canada. There's so many Jokes there. I'm not going to. But anyway, I was playing this
surprised
club.
you didn't joke about them not having like computers in Kentucky yet or something. That's where I thought you were going.
They just got shoes.
Okay.
So it's a different thing. No, but I was playing this club, and like we were just doing sound check, I remember, and I looked up, and like, the ceiling was really low. I was playing because I was where the drummer sat, and then it came down. It was like this crap hole place. It was in a college town, but like Kurt Cobain had etched his knife with his knife, and then then you saw like the rest of Nirvana like sort of like scribbled in there too. And I was like, "Wow, I'm playing where Kurt Cobain played when he was like cutting his teeth."
That's awesome.
You know, that was cool. Like I played lots of cool venues, where like but it's like the smaller ones that are like these little accessible places for young bands. Because without the young bands, we don't get the great bands.
Right. All the great bands were young, horrible bands. Well, maybe not horrible, but you know, young, struggling bands at some point.
And we've talked about it before in our YouTubes, and we talk about it here too. Just like that, the world has changed, and that we have people playing on digital formats to present their music to the world now. And like the live thing is not the same, but the live thing is such a thing. There's nothing. That's how a band really does become a great band. That's how a fan becomes a super fan. Like, oh man, I like, you know, the Stones are a cute band or something, but until you go see the Stones, you're like, oh, that's Keith Richards' power. Well,
you don't get that raw feeling that, the draw is.
Or the White Stripes. I mean, you might, I kind of like the White Stripes. That's neat. Like, I like those songs, like, we're just going to be friends. It's cute. But then you see Jack White blow your face off with a Telecaster and an amp and like some pedals hidden behind a pedal board that gives you this high frequency like scream that sounds good for some reason. That's when there's magic.
And you feel the sub hits you in the chest, and you feel the air move. That's just different.
I think like a sub sandwich, like oh, bam. That'd be like mayonnaise and everything exploding. This is what my brain does. This is why I can't have conversations with grown-ups. It's a problem. No, so the Exit In's in a tricky spot. So so there's a GoFundMe that's started for it right now. So things are in transition. It's not a done deal. It's in contract right now with the famous football players, brothers business. Which is fine. I'm not dissing that. That's how I remember the name of it. Famous football players, brothers business. But there's a chance still that falls through. Things go in contract all the time. If you're interested in like these things, check out the GoFundMe.
Yep.
Check out X&N. Just go online to their website. There'll be links right there. It's pretty fascinating, I think.
It is.
And if you fall on the side of like, hey, it's time for that place to go, we'd like to hear that too.
Absolutely.
Because I grapple, I feel like, as a property owner, like you have rights to sell it to who you want to. I get that. It's I also think you have responsibility to where you are, too, though. Like, and I've had, like, I own the building above where we live, like, and we as a retail space, like I live upstairs above it, and I would make sure I had tenants that I actually liked. I could have a tenant that paid more, but I wanted tenants that added to the neighborhood. Like I was like, oh, cool, like a coffee shop and a music venue. Sign me up. You can pay half the price as a normal tenant? Great, no problem. And you're gonna be 6 months late on rent sometimes? Okay, we got through it. Oh, that was barely. But
good times.
No, because as a landlord, you're not raking the money. You're just trying to barely pay your bills sometimes too, like get that mortgage covered slightly. But I think these landlords are different though. These guys have more than paid for their bills. They bought these buildings decades ago.
I think there's some money being made, I would say.
There's money being made, and I'm okay with that. Make your money, but Nashville is Nashville for a reason. New York City is New York City for a reason, and like the yuppification of these places, drastic. And everybody wants to move there now, and that's great and that's cool. But like, remember when you move there and you're driving your Range Rover and like you're moving everybody out of there, like you gotta be aware. Like some of that filth is what makes it fun.
Yes.
You want a little of that dirt and that grime. When you go to Savannah, it's not always the safest place, but that's all right. It's a gorgeous town.
It's so much fun, yeah.
Go to Charleston, it's pretty safe, except for a certain area.
Right.
You live there.
I did live there.
Yeah. Well, I like going to, my wife lived there too.
Did she live?
She had to buy shoes when she moved there. That's but
first time ever.
I know. She's like, what are these things on my feet? I don't understand. She's like trying to comb her hair, and I was like, that's a fork.
Most people would know that this is a lie because no one wears shoes in Charleston.
Oh, that's true. They wear rainbows. The little like flip flops.
There were like 10 years of my life. I think I only wore rainbows.
There's like rainbow
no
flip
socks,
flops.
just rainbows.
The idea of Jonathan Robinson in like shorts and flip flops just disgusts me. If you feel the same thing, please let me know.
Often it was jeans and flip flops. To be fair,
that's still I just don't like it, but it's okay.
It's true.
I mean, he's a tall man. He's got big feet. It's just weird. And they're probably hairy. I don't want to think about it. I see them all the time. They're not that bad.
I was going to say, you're going to see them at Taekwondo tonight.
But they're kicking me in the face.
Bam!
Three-dimensional Jonathan Robinson.
Hairy toe knuckles right in your mouth. Ouch.
No, but get involved in this one. Like, pro or con. Yeah. Like, I'm sort of excited about it. I hope it ends a certain way. And not because I'm a hippy-dippy ding-dong head about it, but it's like, I played the Exit, and it has a personal feelings, and it was something special.
Yeah.
It's a special place, and I think they could build a hotel on top of it. It might cost a little bit more. It might be a little strange like that, but like I'm okay with that. Like,
I'd be interesting to hear who thinks that's a great idea and who thinks that ruins it, because I think there's a contingent of people out there who think it can't be the same. And what do you do about volume and stuff with the hotel on top of it?
I don't know. I mean, you pay extra to have those rooms that are right above it. That's where you put the lobby above it.
Because they built some hotels in Nashville not long ago near some cool music venues.
Oh, did they start complaining?
Well, everybody's like, oh, we want to live here. We want the hotels here because of these venues. And then it's like, oh, hey, we're going to need you guys to stop playing music at 9 o'clock.
12 or whatever, some crazy hour. Like,
it was sort of insane. And it kind of ruined the outdoor music that made these places cool.
Oh, that's a trick. I mean, I get it, but I think if you move into a downtown area and like you complain about that, you are a ding idiot again.
You are assuming people are reasonable.
No, because I live in a downtown area. I live downtown here, and like I'm next to a train station, all the venues, and I love it.
I think it would be cool, and I would know that going in. Hey, I'm moving on top of a rock and roll venue.
Moves into Nashville, like I want peace and quiet. I moved downtown.
Yes, do not move downtown for peace
and quiet.
Go to
Franklin.
Right.
Get out and go
Murfreesboro, wherever you want to go.
Or where did Derek live? He lived like out. Where did you live, Derek?
Murfreesboro.
This is back when Murfreesboro was not even Murfreesboro.
A little different, yeah.
Derek was like, what? This is like when you were like living on ramen and like all sorts of. He was poor boy. What record label were you at?
Dual Tone Music Group.
Yeah. So Derek was at Dual Tone Music Group there, and he had some serious art. Didn't you have the Lumineers at some point?
They came later, but it was like Radney Fine
Randy Foster, Lumineers later, and then a bunch of great.
Yeah, June Carter Cash.
June Carter Cash, which I have a Carter family guitar somewhere in here. But serious artists were there. Like this was, they didn't pay you anything at the record label. They just paid him nothing. Ramen noodles, I think. So it's Murphy.
Or is Derek fictional? Or are we making these things up? You'll never know.
So, Natasha, goes to you, kid. But no, it's yeah, like just live a little bit out in the country, man. It's all right. Live downtown, you're gonna get some noise. That's what it is.
It's true.
But New York City has like done some great things. They have these great they built these high-end hotels and condos above an old Metro Trans line that was, and then below it there's venues and stuff. It's loud, and that's what
cool.
you want. Like I feel like when you go to Nashville, I want to hear like "Achy Breaky Heart" like till 2 a.m. Like so, just kind of like and kind of, and then you go to sleep and you wake up just thinking Billy Ray Cyrus. God bless him.
It's the dream right there.
He's the dream to me.
Going to bed with Billy Ray
Right
in
next
your
to you.
mind, right there.
Like he's like one of those
Being
like
lulled
Black
to
Mirror
sleep.
things. He's like a Black Mirror episode gone wrong. It's Billy Ray Cyrus in your mind.
He
Thank
had
you.
a very successful career.
I love him. But yeah, so like check out the Exit In. Let us know what you think.
Like Baxter said, check out the GoFundMe. Let us know what you think in the comments. Hit like and subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss videos in the future. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.